But I think the light that was in the eye was darkness. Is there more light? Is the body of Christ walking in more light? They found the United States had become the most cynical, negative country on the face of the earth. The eye is the lamp of the body. And in the Old Testament, the prophets were called eyes, the eyes. And I believe that's their function in the body of Christ. They're the eye. They're the seers. They're supposed to be seeing where we're going. They were called watchmen. You can't watch without eyes, Right. And but he went on to say, the eye is the lamp of the body. So then, if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, the whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? I think making an honest evaluation that over this period of time where an emphasis of a large part of the body of Christ was on the prophetic, is there more light? Is the body of Christ walking in more light or more darkness? And now I think we need to make a distinction in the body of Christ. It's a distinction I believe the Lord makes. We have man's church that man is building, and we have the Lord's church that he's building. But, in the book of Revelation, the animal that represents what I think is man's church, which is also called the harlot and called many other not very nice things, right, because she could not wait for the bridegroom and married the world and the ways of the world. And there's a church that is really an institution. It's not the family of God that God called his people to be. And I personally believe, and I think there's good evidence, that any truth that gets institutionalized gets corrupted. Any truth, whether it's political, scientific, whatever, as soon as it becomes institutionalized, it starts getting corrupted. I think that happened to the body of Christ. I think it's happened to science recently and, over time. But there's, I think the exhortation we have in Hebrews that Jesus suffered outside the camp. He let us go to him outside the camp. There's something of where when you try to become a part of the institution, of the camp, you try to get accepted and to please, that, I think there's a real corruption that takes place. I think that happened to the prophetic movement. And, there's a saying that, a ship in the ocean's fine, but when the ocean gets in the ship, that's not good.
Right.
And I think the ocean got in the ship in a lot of things. Now, I think during the time we had some of the most remarkable prophetic gifts and still do, and God is still using this. But I think the light that was in the eye was darkness, has become darkness. And one of the ways we see that is that, 30 years ago, I think it was more than that, there was a study done on the nations in which America, the United States, was found to be the most positive, full of faith and full of vision country on the planet. We were the number one there. Over the last one done, which was about 30 years after that one, they found the United States had become the most cynical, negative country on the face of the earth. The worst in the world. How did that happen? And it happened, let's just say, okay, if that was the time of the prophets, we need to confess that happened on our watch. That happened when that should not have been the result of the prophetic movement and everything. But I think just as there is a worldwide church that man is building, and which, with the best of intentions in most cases to really serve the Lord and have been used to do many great things, I think there is a remnant that does not go that way. And you see this throughout history. Whenever there are great, huge movements that start to go awry, that start to become institutions, a remnant will break away and carry on with the truth, carry on with the light. And they do grow in the light and all, but they're almost unseen. I know some of the people who are used to evaluate, do some of the polling and all about churches and where the church is and everything. They do not have on their radar screen what I think is the most powerful move of God happening in the world today that is not so out front that it's going to find its way into the news or what most people's perspective. It is the hidden seed. It is the whatever, just like I think the Moravians, I think imparted the most of what became our national DNA in America. But you don't see them. That's why they were called the hidden seed. Mm-hmm. It was like they were the spirit, not the body.
And they're often left out of the history books.
Oh yeah, they're not written in man's history. They will be the only thing in God's history.
Right, right.
know? He's like I was shown many years ago that many of the ones who are the most popular, most visible, most well-known in the world are the least well-known in heaven, and vice versa. Some of those who are the most well-known in heaven are the least well-known on earth. There's something of a coming of the presence of the Lord, the manifest presence of the Lord, that is going to precede his coming. That is going to precede his coming. I tell you, he's going to come to his temple. He's going to come in his temple before he comes to it. There's going to be something of his manifest presence in his people. Open our eyes to see you, know you, follow you, and to be used by you. And anoint us to preach the whole message of this life.